Hi again and welcome back to our open house event. Last time I've already shown you how to set up a project via a brainstorming session and then translate it into a Gantt chart. And this is exactly where we start today, because right now you see there's plenty of activities. They're all starting at the same day. And right now our project would be basically done in one day, and every single activity would happen at the same time. This is obviously not going to be the case in reality, so therefore we have to switch a few things. We can start by setting a few project phases, for example, to prioritize different tasks, and with this give us a bit more of a time frame on when which activity is going to be important. So therefore I'm quickly going to collapse all the different groups that we have here. And now I would like to add our 3 project phases that we're going to look at in this project plan. We will have preparation, then we will have execution, and you can also see we already have follow-up over here. Right now, all the different activities that we've brainstormed are going to be put into the preparation phase. Execution is then going to plan out how the event itself is going to be. So for example, it makes sense to add a chart activity with Option Command G over here and call it agenda. So then if I have another chart activity here, I can fit in the whole agenda in each activity one time slot, one event that is going to take place at a certain time. Agenda item number 1, and so on. But that's not what we're looking for right now. What I'd like to do is another thing. I'd like to add milestones. So for example, we can have a milestone after the preparation phase is finished. Then we go into the inspector. Once again, if you don't see it yet, you can hide or display it via this icon in the top right-hand corner. Click on milestone, and the activity is going to change into a milestone. So now we have the preparation and we can link it to this milestone. There's plenty of ways to link activities together. Either you go to link, click on end to start to have for the first element the ending and for the second element the starting point. This is one way to do it. Or what I like to do is hold the Option key, and you can see there's some dots that are either at the back or the front of a activity, where you can simply drag an arrow to the next activity and it will automatically create a dependency for you. What else can we do with dependencies? We can select it, for example, and you see a new window or a new inspector, and we can see a new inspector is popping up. And here you can also link your activity, in this case activity number 1. The number 1 is over here, you can see it in the first line. And its successor, the activity that's happening afterwards, is activity 31. This is also true, so therefore these two are linked together. The type is also displayed, and something else that you can set here is the lead lag time. So in some cases you want to give some sort of buffer time when a new activity shouldn't directly start after the first is finished. So in this case we want to say, hey, for the full preparation phase we can add up to a week of buffer time of lead or lag, and this gives us some sort of fallback time if some of these activities take longer. So therefore simply click on lead lag and type in 5D, for example, for 5 days. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're just talking about working days, are going to be added as lead lag, and then the milestone is taking place. So if we're, for example, extending the preparation phase to 3 days, you can see that the milestone is also going to take place 3 days later in order to ensure that the lead lag time is still 5 days. So that's all for dependencies. I've already hinted that we're currently ignoring the weekends, but in some cases there's work being done on the weekends. And how can we display that if we can't really put any activities there? Also in other weeks, in this case, for example, October 31st is Halloween. How can we show that on these days people are not working? For this, we go into the project settings. We can see them in the toolbar on the top right-hand corner, and then click on the second tab for the calendar. Here you see that there's already 3 different calendars integrated. We have a 24 hours where every single working hour counts. We have a night shift that the working intervals are changing, and we have the standard calendar. In the standard calendar, we see that during the week, every day we will work 8 hours. If we click on one of those days, we can see that during Monday, for example, from 8 till 12 and then from 1 to 5 p.m., those 8 hours are working hours. And then 12 to 1 is a break. We can then also say that, for example, every Monday is going to be a 24-hour workday or whatever you want to have it. So here, 24 hours in total, the full day counts. So we can also do the same to other days. For example, Saturday, let's give it from, why not, 2 to 2. Quite a mean time, but you get the drill, I'd say. And what we can also do, let me quickly jump back, is add exceptions. So as we've announced before, the 31st is Halloween. So I can label it Halloween, say start day, 31st, end day, also 31st. And that day we don't have working time. We can also say it's, for example, during Christmas we only have a half day. So we can say from 8 to 1, for example, half day is working time and half day is off time. So therefore, feel free to set up the calendar as soon as possible in order to align your project to your company's expectations, to your company's reality. Okay, so these should give you some of the tools that you need to add context and logic into our project. So once again, I'm going to jump ahead and create a few phases and build up the project further. What I've done now is I've added some work estimations. I linked some of these activities together in order to give a first glimpse at the timescale that we might need for this project. Then I've linked the groups together and basically created some sort of initial project. You can see it's not really that easy to view it all at the same time. So there's another tip. Simply click on one of the timelines here, move it to the left or right to make the project timescale a bit bigger or smaller. You can also click on one of those timescales over here and change the new unit. So for example, here we want to only show the year, or we want to see the weeks. And then I can also click on the second timescale and change it, for example, to days, if I want to have it like this. So, but for now, I think this looks good. I can add the timelines. We see where we are today. And I can also fix the time unit for the second timescale in this case. So when I move it smaller, you can see that it's fixed the time unit, even though I changed the time scale. Otherwise, it would move to a smaller unit, as we've seen before after I've added the weeks here. Okay. So this is our project as of now. I can display some things if I want to use more of the workspace here. And that's our project is now looking after we've added some context into it. I've already promised you that we're going to discuss work and duration. So just as a short side note here, we have some activities that we can 100% steer ourselves. So for example, in this case, creating and managing the invitation list. This is all done by us. So we pretty much know how much work we are going to take for it. In other cases, we are a bit reliant on other people, for example. For this, we have the duration, because there's some time delays, like for example, shipping delays that we can't do anything about ourselves. So therefore, when we say providing name tags, for example, we might say, hey, we ordered the lanyards for the name tags. It's like a lanyard and then the text on it. We ordered those lanyards online and they take a few days. So for example, the duration, even though the work itself, designing the lanyard, putting it all together for every single participant is 3 days, we can say the duration is gonna take those 3 days plus the time it takes for the shipping. So let's say shipping is 2 days, then the duration is 5 days for this activity. And you can see that the activity has extended to 5 days in the work breakdown. So that should be all for adding context and logic to our project for now. Next up, we're going to have a look at resources in the next video.